Hello. This is a digital storytelling video about Gestalt's principles. I'm Brian, your host today, and we're going on a virtual art tour. Sit tight. Here's some virtual popcorn for those who forgot to bring it. Today, we'll tackle some of the principles using ASCII art examples. Shortly, ASCII art is a type of digital art where you only use the standard ASCII characters accompanied with a monospaced font to draw pictures. The Gestalt's principles try to explain, not how we see, but how we perceive the signals we pick up with our visual sensory system. Here's, obviously, a circle, but as you can see the line is not intact, yet we perceive it as one continuing line. This is the Gestalt's principle of continuation. The tendency to perceive objects as one continuous path. Or like here we perceive this as two individual uninterrupted keys, although the shapes intersect and are not complete. Okay, here we can see a classic Gestaltian triangle, except there's no triangle at all. All there is are these three Pac-Man-like shapes. The Gestalt's principle in action here is called the law of closure. It means that we prefer complete shapes, and our brains tend to fill in the gaps. In this example it is simpler to see a triangle and three cells behind it than it is to see the three Pac-Mans. Also, the IBM logo is a traditional example of the law of closure as there's no characters I, B, or M present in the logo. We can only see some odd shapes but our minds fill in the gaps. One of the Gestalt's key properties, reification, is present here. The eye recognizes the separate shapes as belonging to a single shape. Actually, the law of closure plays a major role in ASCII art generally since ASCII art consists of individual characters placed next to each other. Our brain sees the full picture rather than tries to read the lines character by character. In this very piece, there's more empty space than there's characters and yet, we see what it depicts. This piece acts as a segue into our next principle, proximity. Here you can see four smaller versions of the previous example. How do you know it's four separate pieces and not one single picture containing four skulls? Well, Gestalt's principle of proximity says that we perceive grouped objects as one larger collection. The same principle applies to literally every ASCII art piece because the characters themselves are placed next to each other forming groups. Yet another classic example. It's Rubens' vase. Or at least most of us see the vase first, and if you look again you can see two faces staring at each other. The figure ground organization works so that people instinctively perceive what's in the background and what's in the foreground. This is related to one of the key properties, multi-stability. It's the tendency to unstably switch between multiple perceptual experiences. This art tour is coming to an end. We only covered some of the principles and mentioned a few other aspects of Gestalt's school of psychology. Thank you for your attention.